Yeah, with these, I found a good article that has some of the people's, what do you call it? Incentive records. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I didn't write down, and that was the one where I found all this with.
Wait, is that on Awesemo, or did you find that somewhere else?
It's not on Awesemo.
Oh, you gotta share the wealth, bro. Come on. Can you link it?
It's another subscription site.
Yes, I'm ready to go. Unbelievable. Welcome into week 18 of the PrizePicks NFL Strategy Show. Myself, EMac, Mike Awesemo is producing. We appreciate you always hanging with us as we're going to make you money on PrizePicks, the home of the over-under. It's that simple. You build a couple of tickets, over-under. You go with what EMac says. You follow along with our own projections that we have on Awesemo, and you turn it into a winning ticket. 3, 4, 5, flex play, power play. We'll tell you about it all. As once again, for the final time in the regular season, my friend, we dive deep into the numbers.
Absolutely. I forgot I didn't have my lights on here. It was a little bit of a scramble. I was leisurely eating lunch and then got the notification that, hey, your show's a half hour earlier than you thought. But here I am, written 2 articles. I'm on my second show of the day. 1 more article and 1 more show to go.
How many cups of coffee are you on? Jeez.
I've had almost an entire pot of cold brew by myself. Nice. Can you tell?
Yeah. I love it, man. Yes, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, I've been up since about 6:05 to be exact if we're counting. So it's been a fun one today.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Well, it's a huge day in New York for a lot of people that are going to take advantage of what's happening, whether or not you're frozen like I am here in Philly, or I'm sure all the way up through where you are to where Mike is upstate. So in New York, everything is frozen, it feels like. So why not stay at home, turn the heat up? That's why I have the lumberjack shirt on. Crank the heat up and make some money here on PrizePicks. So let's look at this, man. This is going to be interesting because we have 2 things that are kind of competing against each other with week 18. We have teams that have either locked it up or are playing against a team that has absolutely nothing going for them when starters get pulled versus, and I know you're all over this, EMac, guys out there, starters or not, that are playing for something, yardage, incentives, what have you, in order to get a little extra cash in the bank of their own. So you've looked at everything so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And so all morning I spent trying to find the implications, because I wrote and it's posted on the Awesemo homepage now for the Sunday night or Saturday night football, your Eagles going against Dallas.
Yes.
It was almost impossible to find an article that coherently described what Dallas was actually playing for. Because every article said, oh, they can finish as high as the 2nd seed or the 4th seed. And it's like, well, I need some scenarios to know how realistic this is. And it's like all the national sites were just mailing it in with that. And I'm like, oh, you guys are crazy. So in searching for that, I came across the Gronk incentives and that got me turned on to saying, oh my God, I forgot about contract incentives. Because I sit here thinking, oh, how nice of Cooper Kupp to say, yeah, they should have separate records for the 17 games and the 16 games. And then I didn't think about it again. I'm like, wait a second, we can monetize this somehow.
Yes.
Who's close? And not only is who's close, but is it related to their props? Because there's like Devontae Adams is like 5 yards away from whatever pick of like 1,500 yards or whatever it is for him. Great. His prop is way higher than 5 yards. So that doesn't really do anything for us. And then we'll talk about Brady. We're going to lead off with Brady, but he's like a gazillion yards away from whatever the record is, but he has thrown for a gazillion yards multiple times this season. And you ever seen Groundhog's Day?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a classic.
What he tells Puxatawny Phil, don't drive angry, right?
Yes.
You know who we want to play angry? Tom Brady.
Okay.
Do you think Tom Brady's a little miffed after being in a news cycle, not for his doing all week? And did you hear about that fans only wrinkle with the girl that spent the night in Antonio Brown's hotel room the night before?
Wait, we're talking fans only or only fans?
Whatever. I don't.
Okay.
I have it bookmarked, so I don't have to type it in, right? I don't know. Whatever the. I don't even. Let's not talk about that.
Yes.
The Instagram famous model or whatever.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of drama.
Yeah, she has COVID now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either until I read an article about that this morning. Again, I was searching. So how do we monetize all this? I think Brady's got to be pissed. Arian's got to be a little unhappy. And technically, Tampa Bay still playing for something. They need to win to maintain their position because they are one of the teams that conceivably could fall behind or that Dallas could pass if Dallas so chooses to play tonight and win. So Brady, are you ready? 269 passing. Oh, nice. 269 passing yards. 285 for Awesemo, 488 to break the all-time single season record. He's gone over 400 a couple times this year. We just need him to go to 270. Right. I think we can get him to go 270. It doesn't matter that everybody's out. He's got Gronk. He's got Evans. He's got Gronk. He's got Evans. Hey, he's got Le'Veon Bell.
Great. I mean, he'll throw to Ronald Jones. Absolutely. Right. I think you're right here in one sense, which is, and this is the driving thing for me to tail this play, EMac, is the incentive is there to throw for 488. While he may not throw for the actual number, the incentive is there. Devontae Adams needs 5 yards. Okay, that's a grab. That's back to the bench. Take your helmet off. We won't see you again. Brady's going to be throwing for as many yards as he can until he gets yanked by Arians for however much they're up. So, yeah, I definitely think the incentive play is going to be huge, not only for Brady, but other guys you're going to bring up that have some sort of reason to play and reason to play up.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So Brady, we're slamming.
Brady, yeah, this just seems like it just seems like a good one. I see somebody asking, so Dallas does have something to play for. I'll drop this one. This is a free article, so I'm going to drop this one into chat here.
They definitely do.
They do, and it took me a while to find this one.
Right.
But we've got basically it breaks down all the scenarios. But the worst Dallas can finish is 4th. There's a chance they can get to 2nd. They really need the 49ers to beat the Rams, and they would need the Bucks to lose as well. So one of those two teams needs to lose. Those teams are at home, and they don't want to lose their positioning. So it's kind of there's something to play for, but it's not oh my God, we better keep Dak Prescott and all those guys in the game if we're a little nervous, like losing one of their receivers to a torn ACL last week, right? That's fresh in their minds. So, because I wanted to mention that those posts, we'll talk about them tonight on the Live Before Lock show for NFL. They haven't put those numbers up yet on PrizePicks. My guess is because they don't know who's playing. But
the Eagles may not play guys either.
Yeah, Devonta Smith, I don't think he's going to play. But he's 50 some yards away from Deshaun Jackson's rookie record for yardage. I don't think they'd risk him for that.
Look, I don't think if the Eagles aren't going to play anybody, then Dallas sure as hell is not going to play anybody either. Yeah. So,
and Ezekiel Elliott 85 yards away from like a $200,000 rushing bonus.
That could be 2 games.
These are the things I've found out there. I don't know that it's going to be actionable, but these are the things floating around in my head.
I tell you what, that's not terrible, right? I don't know if Zeke, if it's Cooper Rush and a bunch of backup offensive linemen, chances are Ezekiel Elliott is not starting that game and getting a bunch of carries to get over that $125K bonus. It's all predicated, I think, on what the Eagles do. Cowboys, I think, are more than happy to start the majority of their guys. Now, look, they're down a couple of guys anyway with COVID, but I think the Cowboys are more than happy to start their guys and win this game, EMac, to an extent. But if the Eagles are coming out with Gardner Minshew and company, then nobody's going to be out there for ones.
No.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Except Corey Clement, who has a Remember Me game just on tap. This is perfect.
Wait a second. Not a revenge game, but a remember me game.
Revenge games are played out. This is
y'all forgot about me game.
Remember me, bitches.
Wait a second. I had it here somewhere. I don't have time to find it, but I have a framed signed picture of him catching that football in the end zone in the Super Bowl. All right. What do you mean we forgot about him? We love Corey.
He's not so sure. He's playing with anger. He's playing with anger.
Okay. I'll subscribe to the playing angry theme here by all means. All right. So we still have a couple of more passers though to get to, right? Stafford and Carr.
So Stafford, obviously, Rams playing for something. We sort of hit on it here. That he's someone that gets decent volume. We know that the 49ers, not the vaunted defense that they have been in the last few seasons, while Stafford has been, from a fantasy perspective, he still gets a lot of yards. It's been the interceptions that have been that have been hurting him. And remember, we said take the over on his interceptions last week, but Stafford needs 270.5. Awesemo is projecting him for 283. He could get 5,000 yards, and I believe he's already done that before with the Lions. I can't remember for sure, but 352 yards away. But that's secondary. They're playing to win. Any game where he's going out and playing to win, we know he's in play for 300 yards. It's at the 49ers. The 49ers, they're going to be playing hard. They have to win.
Yep.
We're looking at, Cooper Kupp could set the all-time NFL record for receiving yards. He could get 2,000. Albeit in a 17-game season. But these are just little factors. Just throwing those out there. Little hints, little cookies, little nibbles here and there that could add up.
Any way you can find some sort of motivation in this week and targeting games where both teams need something to play for makes a lot of sense. I actually like San Fran now with the points at +4.5, but I mean, that game is going to be a hard-fought game. You're right.
Yeah, it's not going to be a pushover by their team. And I think Jimmy G's coming. They're going to play him instead of Trevor Lawrence, I believe. It's what they're hoping for. So
now I may take the Rams.
Oh, ouch. All
right, who else are you targeting throwing the football?
Final one for quarterback. And this is legit. Derek Carr, the unsung hero of fantasy. I mean, he has just been a producer the last 2 seasons. All he does is by the end of the game, rack up yards. So that's all we're looking for here because it's a yardage prop. 265.5. Awesemo has him at 275. He's just 380 away from 5,000. Are the Raiders really playing for anything at this point? Could they be chucking it? Sure. Why not? So I think his is actually an interesting one. So I didn't write down. They are on the afternoon game. So they're going against the Chargers. We know the Chargers have a horrific rushing defense. Right. They have the 32nd rushing DVOA, but they're 23rd with the pass DVOA. So they're not great there either. And then the Raiders are actually just above average from a passing perspective. And they're, it's been kind of a lost season for a myriad of reasons here for the Raiders. But one positive note, go out with in front of the home field fans in Las Vegas, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers are also really bad. And I think we're expecting Darren Waller back, right? The Chargers are awful against the tight end. So even if it's just Moreau, you're still going to get a really good pathway for Carr to exploit the middle of the field. You get Waller back, this line here, I mean, he should be in the 300s easily.
Yeah. Oh, and my bad. This is Sunday Night Football. No, it's not just the late game.
Both
the Sunday
need the
night
win.
Game. Yep.
Right. So they're both playing for something. They both need the win. But I'm with you. I mean, Vegas is just they have a 3-game win streak, and 2 of those wins are against teams that just are laughable. And then they beat the Colts on a down week. So,
I mean,
I'm not.
The Raiders are 3-point underdogs. You're right. Both teams need to win, but we're kind of thinking. I mean, come on. It's the Chargers. Well, they have better talent at every position.
Right. And
which means throw, Derek Carr, throw.
Yes. I'm with you, man. All right. So we could also start targeting guys that are close on the ground as well. I know you looked at a bunch of different angles that we can attack here as far as rushing is concerned. Now, again, some of this we don't know across the board, but whatever PrizePicks has up, what you've been doing at least so far is looking at our projections on site with Awesemo, definitely taking advantage of numbers because I'm following along on Odd Shopper, and a lot of these numbers are lower that you're going over, so we have an advantage on PrizePicks. What'd you find as far as rushing?
So Jonathan Taylor is projected on PrizePicks for 110.5 yards. Wow, that is a big number. Awesemo has him for 124. That seems absurd. Oh, wait, they're playing the Jaguars, and technically the Colts do need to win this game. Now, they're favored on the road by just over 2 touchdowns, but who's going to get them there? It could be Mr. Jonathan Taylor, who needs just, where's my notes? He's 266 yards away from 2,000. Now, do I think he'll get that? No, I don't. But last year, the last game of the season, I remember him rushing for like 230 or 240. It was some obscene number on like 30 carries. Now, they're playing in the playoffs, which is more important, getting him 2,000 yards or securing the playoffs and not having him beat to hell. Yes, so I don't think 266 is in play, but I think the 110 is pretty interesting. The other one from this game we'll talk about is going to be Carson Wentz, because nothing says fantasy football like Carson Wentz.
The ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. Is that it?
I just wanted to see that 1,000-yard stare in your eyes from being shell-shocked by Carson Wentz for so long.
Look, I mean, look, the ebbs and flows of each week, I think, are represented by the ups and downs that we've seen of his yearly career, by all means. So he's definitely back in some sort of command, but not nearly to the point where he's going to take away productivity from Jonathan Taylor. And it just makes more sense that you would smash the Jags on the ground with Taylor, get out of there with a win, and he does the majority of the damage. 124.1 is a super hammer right there down on that defense.
Yeah, it's they've been a mess. The Jaguars have the worst passing defense, and they're in the bottom 10 for rushing defense for DVOA. So
unbelievable. But at the same time, if we can take advantage of it with Jonathan Taylor, let's do it, man. All right, now we were talking about this, right, with Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys. He needs 85 for a 125K bonus, but he's not on there as of yet, right?
Correct. So no one from this game is on there. I suspect they're not going to, once they know who's starting or who's not, they'll put some up because they're going to want us to play there tonight. But this game isn't posted right now because it makes sense because, I mean, what do? Do you put something up for Jalen Hurts and then he doesn't start? Do you put something up, for Dak Prescott and then he leaves the game after 5 drives or a quarter, or who knows what's going to happen for this one? So that's just if it gets posted, know he's 85 yards away, but it's 100 and whatever thousand. It's not like $1 million bonus, which we're going to get to at the next position. But the last one for this is Rex Burkhead. Now, not only are there some contract incentives here, but Burkhead actually has been playing a lot, I guess, reasonably well. I mean, they've cut a whole bunch of running backs around him. So why not? So he's at 37.5 rushing yards. Awesemo is projecting him for 55. So that's a good number right there. He needs, if he gets 600, and this was kind of a convoluted article that I found this one. He needs, if he gets 650 combined yards, he gets $250,000. If he plays there was a poorly worded article. I couldn't tell if he plays 30% of the snaps today, 30% on the year, or 30% in any game he plays in. However it works out, there's a chance if he plays half the game, he's going to get another $250,000.
Right.
So it's a lost season in Houston. This isn't like big money. They're going to need him anyway. Just why not a big thank you out there? But his props are pretty low. So even at 37.5 rushing yards, and if there wasn't all this other nonsense, I'd still be very interested with Awesemo projecting him for 55. I was hoping PrizePicks would have his fantasy points up. They don't yet. Wouldn't surprise me if they put those up tomorrow as we get closer to game time. So I would, at least tonight, I'll take that over 37.5 rushing yards. But if it pops up with fantasy points tomorrow, then I'll take whatever the over is on that, as long as it's at least 10. It was where I think he would be, and I think he has a good shot at 12 to 14 full PPR.
Yeah, especially with just playing in the game volume, right? This seems like a volume play where he's going to be out there enough for the incentive to hit. So it stands that he's going to get chances. You're right. The season's over. They're at home, but Titans need to win this game to secure the 1 spot anyway. So both teams are technically playing. And yeah, I could easily see Burkhead being in there with what you laid out, enough to get me especially on PrizePicks where it's lower here than it is at the book. So you're actually getting a break at 37.5 versus where I'm seeing it here in PA at 41.5. So that's a 4-yard difference PrizePicks is giving you as opposed to the books.
Yeah, and I think a good one on that is the fact that he's kind of auditioning for whoever he's going to play for next year, because it's unlikely it's going to be Houston, but he'll want to catch on somewhere. And this just reminds everybody that he is a dual threat running back who's, he's not horrible.
No, a lot of guys are playing for work. You're right. You know, a lot of guys right now on good or bad teams. It's not just people that play for the Giants or the Texans that are playing for jobs next year. It could be a second string guy who is just behind in a deep position on a good team that knows they'll never be a starter. Whatever the case may be, there are a lot of angles. And that's a big one, EMac. Speaking of which, I know we're moving on here, but Kickstart hit us with a pretty good theory, especially this week, about targeting some of the first half props, especially for the ones that you laid out here. And I think that's a really good blueprint, is to take what EMac is giving you for full game and then going to PrizePicks, looking at what you can get for the first half, especially if there's a concern that starters get pulled in the second half because that team may be up. Buffalo, Tampa, Tennessee, situations like that. So that was his angle here, targeting first half props for players that we may think aren't going to be out there for a big part of the second half.
All right. I see someone saying that Burkhead signed an extension. He signed a 1-year contract extension. We know those are loose, and it would not be hard to cut.
He may not even be back at camp next year. So
good. Thank you for the call out. Absolutely. But contracts in the NFL are kind of bogus at this point. Even Patrick Mahomes is kind of a bogus contract. So
I don't know if he's going to be out next year, but Burkhead might. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, let's look at receiving yards. And again, we'll keep an eye on what guys may have first half as well. It's an interesting angle, but two guys that need big games. I like Diggs ahead of time. I know we'll get to Cup first, but I think Diggs was a play that came up. Rasa was talking about him. A couple of people on our Odd Shopper betting show earlier in the week brought him up. And this was without referencing the work that you put in here, where there's actual extra incentive for Diggs and for Cup, where we can start here too, right?
Absolutely. So just hitting on Diggs. So right now, only his receiving prop is up. So he's 70.5 yards. Awesemo has him for 79.3. However, if he gets 100 catches this season, he gets a $1.5 million bonus. He is 6 catches away. 6 catches. Now, if he gets 6 catches, he darn well is going to get 70 yards. So if we're playing that route, the 70 seems like a number that's achievable. The other one that's kind of interesting on that one, and I didn't see the number up yet, is if you think Buffalo's ahead big time, because they are playing the Jets, they are favored by 2 touchdowns at home. If you think they're up big time, you want to look at their running backs. We'll have to see who's active because they've been playing that game. But if it's Singletary, he is an interesting one to be. People were talking about second half bets. That might be something you can jump on if they post those early enough while the games are still obviously in the first half, and you get it before halftime. That could be someone who gets a lot of work in the second half in mop-up duty, because I don't think they care about their running backs, but they do care about the receivers and their quarterback.
You're right. Absolutely. And it's going to be pack it up. Let's get the hell out of here and prepare for the playoffs by all means. So Cup and Diggs we have. I'm interested, though. It's not up because I was looking at it on PrizePicks. I wonder if they do put it up before Sunday. I was looking at just receptions, because a lot of times on PrizePicks, you can already see it if you're following along on PrizePicks. You have a lot of flat numbers, right? No hooks in there. So the push is always in play with that. Van Jefferson at 3, Eckler at 4, Kittle at 5, Samuel at 4, etc. So I was looking to see, because the books, even though they're giving you plus money on the return, the majority of books are asking for a 6.5 play on Diggs. I'm betting that if it goes up, and it's not up right now, but if it does go up, it's going to be at 6. And again, that's the subtle angle that you can take on PrizePicks, where yes, there's a push and play, but at the very least, it doesn't void your ticket if you have a 3, 4, 5, so on ticket built.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing to remember on PrizePicks is if it's a push, you don't lose. They just take your card, and now if it was a 5-question card, it becomes a 4-question card. If it was a 3, it becomes a 2. That's all. It's not one of those where you lose your entire card. Again, they want you to have a better user experience. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, it was a tie. Like last night I had, who was it? I had somebody for 5 made free throws. They got 5. It just came out of my card. It didn't hurt me, and it didn't help me. So
Good
Carl
to go.
Anthony Towns, 5 made 3 free throws.
Is that what it was?
I think that's the one it was. I had 2 ties last night. I'm like, oh, these are the only ones I'm playing that don't have the hook, and they both hit the number. The other one was like 7 assists, or somebody had 7 rebounds or something. I was just like, really?
I know. I do that a lot with threes because it's like, it's tough, right? Threes are tough and they can be volatile and they come in bunches. So a lot of times it's like, you're playing a 4.5 or 5.5 and you're stuck on that low number. And PrizePicks, at least you have the push and play. It's frustrating, but at least your ticket is live there. All right, we have a couple more to get out here before we get out of here, my friend. Interception, if there's anybody you were looking at that, and then also mention Carson Wentz.
Well, Cooper Kupp, though, real quick.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Cooper Kupp.
So Kupp's the interesting one. So we like him. He's the league's leading receiver by far. PrizePicks has a lofty total, 113.5. Awesemo has just 105.8. However, he does need 171 yards for 2,000. And if he gets 135, he will get the all-time receiving record. Now, again, game his team needs to win. He should get 100, but it starts to get a little tricky when the line's now 110. It's sort of like a lot of things could go wrong, that he still has a great game, 9 catches, 90 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but he does not get 110 yards. We're mad if we lose. So that I just wanted to call that one out, because that seems to be the one everybody's talking about in the media and all that, of how he's having such a phenomenal year. Little tricky to bet on that one. Interceptions. Let's look at his quarterback, Matt Stafford. Awesemo's projecting him with a 90% chance of throwing an interception. Now, San Francisco doesn't have a ton of interceptions this year, but we said the exact same thing last week against Baltimore, that Baltimore only has 6 interceptions on the season. I think they got him twice last week, and that was one of the ones we called out. So, sometimes these Awesemo models, they're kind of good. So that is one that of all the different I think there's 5 quarterbacks up there, that's the one that stood out the most.
Let me ask you real quick.
Yep.
Because you can only play it once on the ticket. What do you like better, Stafford over the interception or Stafford over the passing yards?
Passing yards.
Okay. Sorry.
But I'll be making multiple tickets because it's fun.
I'm sure you will.
If you wanted to spend $20, what if you just did 4 $5 tickets? And maybe if you were flex plays, and maybe if you were all or nothing, and you can kind of mix and match some of these. So there will be several cards in my future.
Well,
and finally,
the good news is that we're giving people a deposit bonus up to $100 so they can do a ton of damage, sir. Yes, finally.
Yes. Finally, Carson Wentz. We're back. This is a flashback for you.
How did this show go from praising Jalen Hurts to trolling me with Carson Wentz?
Because Jalen Hurts isn't going to play tonight, so we can't talk about him. Come on. I've got Mike producing. He's got an Eagles sweatshirt and an Eagles ball cap on. We know you're Mr. Philadelphia, so of course I have to bring something up, and here it is. It's Carson Wentz. Okay. Transitive properties, I guess. So yes. Wentz is 1.5 passing touchdowns. Now, Awesemo does project him for 1.75. So that's about a 67% chance of getting 2 touchdowns in this. I throw this out there. This doesn't matter, but he's 4 touchdowns away from 30. Again, they're going to try to win the game. They're going to try to get up, and then they're going to hopefully let their backups carry the rest of the day. But throwing for 2 touchdowns, not completely unbelievable. One goes to the tight end, one goes to Pittman. Boom, there we are. He could get that done in the first half.
Love it. All right, you are fully prepared out there. Thank EMac here. Thank EMac on Twitter at EMac DFS, at Shander Show for me. Thanks to Mike Awesemo for being here producing. Thanks to you all out there for hanging all of your questions. We just appreciate the Awesemo community taking part in what we're doing here with PrizePicks. So click that link below. You're going to get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. And as I mentioned, we're going to match your first deposit up to $100. Hit that thumbs up button too on your way out, please. And if you're not subscribed to what we have going on here, especially with what's going on in New York, oh my goodness, sign up and be a part of what we're doing here. EMac, we'll see you next week, brother.
Sounds good.
Take care, everybody.